How do we want to see our Earth in 100 years? I want to see it as a beautiful landscape planet as I see it now. This is why I'm arguing that global warming is a problem and showing that it does matter what we do now for future generations to come. I once read a quote that said, "The Earth is not dying, it is being killed, and the people killing it have names and addresses." It's a true fact. People need to change the way they live, or the Earth is going to change it for them. This speech will make the points that global warming is destroying our Earth, that we need to take action, and if we don't follow through, there will be consequences. Global warming is occurring from man-made actions and has been enhancing since the Industrial Revolution. Some choose not to believe this because there are signs and facts all over to support it. Carbon dioxide is by far the most abundant human-generated greenhouse gas. Methane and nitrous oxide are more potent, and concentrations are rising as well. Molecule for molecule, nitrous oxide traps heat 200 times more than CO2. These forms of global warming are produced by transportation, powering our cities, and waste. There are over 6 billion people in this world, and 83% of the land is being operated on by some type of resource. Today, the sun's energy enters the atmosphere in the form of light waves and heats up the Earth. Some of the energy warms the Earth and is then radiated back into space in the form of infrared waves. When normal conditions exist, a portion of the outgoing infrared radiation is naturally trapped by the atmosphere. That is a good thing because it keeps the Earth at a comfortable temperature. The problem we face now is that the thickening from the huge quantities of human-caused carbon dioxide and the greenhouse gases. As it thickens, it causes more heat to be trapped, which causes temperatures to warm in the air and water. Greenhouse gases are extremely hazardous and are hard to prevent but easy to release. Before the Industrial Revolution in the late 18th century, the CO2 levels were around 280 parts per million. Now they are around 388 parts per million. From digging the ice cores of the Antarctica, scientists are discovering that in the last 650,000 years, never have the CO2 levels been above 300 parts per million. The scientists in Antarctica predict that it will be above 600 parts per million within 45 years if we do not decide to act upon this issue. Transportation is one of the most crucial factors of our everyday life. The oil we use to run our cars is one of the top reasons why we are in the situation we are in today. The average annual CO2 emission for a car is 11,903 pounds. Gasoline, the liquid that moves your car, pollutes 19.4 pounds of CO2 per gallon. Considering there are about 52 million cars on the road every day, the amount of CO2 produced from these cars is immense. Natural gas is another form of powering our homes to keep our lives moving in the right direction. This gas is not as harmful as coal and oil, but still shows its CO2 footprint to our world. Natural gas only gives off 117,000 pounds per billion of BTU of energy input. Conserving water for future generations is going to be one of the most crucial things that will help mankind. We go through it like it's going out of style. Every person will go through 1,277,043 gallons of water and take 28,433 showers in their life. That's enough water to fill 2 Olympic-sized swimming pools, or to leave your kitchen tap running for 62 weeks. What are we going to do to conserve it, or reuse it? If we don't, we will run out of the resources that we are using today. With the way our population is growing, the demand keeps going up with the amount of people. Shouldn't we be recycling more or taking care of the things so that they can be reused more than once? We could think of products that are less harmful to the environment and that do not take so many resources to run or build. The world is stubborn because not a lot of people are changing their ways of living to help fight global warming, and that is going to hurt the rest of us who are trying. Our transportation needs are something that we have to work on. There are many forms of getting around. Walking or riding a bike should be your first because it doesn't have pollution. Public transportation is becoming greater in a lot of cities that are starting to use hybrid buses to drive people around. Colorado State University started a program where they take all their used cooking oil and turn it into biodiesel to run their buses and lawnmowers. Who is going to change the way we use electricity? The government doesn't seem to be doing anything fast. That's why each individual needs to stand up and do something about it. Put solar panels in your home to help you demand less coal. Put in wind turbines. Use more natural gas in your home. It's better than coal and oil. Design green roofs with plants all over it because it pulls in CO2. Some people say that global warming is a myth. They say that it's all part of the past occurring incidents and are natural occurring from our Earth. Yes, that is a true fact. The Earth has been erupting for hundreds of thousands of years. Volcanoes have been releasing hot lava that has made some of the islands and large land masses that we live on today. These volcanoes have released extremely large quantities of CO2. On record, the past CO2 levels have been high from our Earth developing. So there is an opposing side because some say that it is naturally occurring today, like it was in the past. But in the past, humans didn't cause it. They weren't even around. Today, volcanoes are not erupting like they were in the past. So there is not CO2 that is being released from that. Today, we are doing something much different, ways of contributing to the CO2 that is being released into the air. We have entered an age of technology. Scientists have done experiments on global warming to prove that it is not just a myth. Our homes are where we can make the biggest change in our global footprint. We can start by changing all the light bulbs in our house to compact fluorescents, buying ceiling fans so you can help keep your home cool instead of relying on your air conditioning units. Get double pane windows that can lower your energy loss by 40%. Buying Energy Star products such as your appliances and your electronics. For sinks, showers, and toilets, use all high efficiency products. There are many questions such as what will happen if we do not decide to do something about global warming? Are we all going to run out of food and water? Well, the answer is yes. In some places that will happen, in others it may not. Depending on where you live on the grid, where it is drier it will get drier, and where it is wet now it may get wetter. In other cases this may not be true. It could see different weather patterns in the future. If that were to happen in places where we grow crops for the world, then we would all be in trouble. Corn is one of the most valuable sources of food. If we decide to keep using coal and oil, we will heat our earth even more. There will be no stopping point to how hot it can get. The more CO2 that is released, the thicker our atmosphere gets, which will continue to trap more heat. As we heat up our earth, we will melt more glaciers and eventually melt all the ice that will release 800 billion metric tons of carbon monoxide. That is not all. Seas will rise if the ice melts. If only half of Greenland and half of Antarctica melt, we would raise sea levels from 18 to 20 feet. The major cities would get hit hard. Most of Florida would be gone. The San Francisco Bay Area would be wiped out. The Netherlands would be an underground city that was once huge. Now it would be like it was never there. In China, 60 million people would be evacuated because sea levels would demolish their coasts. Old habits plus old technology equals predictable consequences. Old habits plus new technology equals dramatically altered consequences. There is pressure on all of us on what we want to do for our future. We can sit around and wait to see what happens next, or we can do something about that, the way we are living, and see a change in our atmosphere. We have to do something now before our parts per million levels get too high, and we can't turn it around. We don't want to see our Earth as a dump or a white smoke heap everywhere from too much carbon being released into our atmosphere. We look at China right now, and that's all you see. Let's change our world for the good of things and protect it for future generations to come. We can do it, but it'll take all of us to see a difference.